So it's basically an A4 size only. And then I found these. Hey, welcome back to my channel. It's Wendy here from Toonpish Crafts and I hope you're doing okay. Have you ever wanted to make a silicone inlay that was huge? Well, I've had a few people ask me if I could make bigger sizes, because even though the sizes that I make that are large, I call them large, they're only A4 size, which means if you have a mould that is bigger, you can't use them. So I had my thinking cap on for quite some time, and I think I've come up with the idea of how to make huge silicone inlays. So I'm going to show you what I do with them first, and then I'm going to show you how you can do it too. So obviously this inlay is not huge, but it could be. The design is absolutely stunning, and I'm using a small-ish kind of half tray size mould to try it out. Now I know the silicone inlay is going to work, but as this is just a jagged edge piece, I thought I'd use the jagged edges to emphasize the inlay. When I came up with this idea, I was stunned at how big you could actually make an inlay with this kind of beautiful design. But I poured this little tiny bit of silicone on the design just to see if it would work. Eventually I decided that that is where I want it, and so I'm going to trim up the outside with just a pair of scissors, just so that it fits nicely into that mould. Now I'm going to colour it, and the first colour I'm going to use is the Tiny Turner's Chaos. Now this is a new colour for the Tiny Turner, and I am very pleased to tell you that I am now an official distributor, stockist if you like, of the Tiny Turner pigments. You can get hold of them now from my website, and the website will be linked in the description box below, together with a direct link to Emma's pigments. Recently she's added 4 new colours. Some of them are sparkly. This one is a stunning purple, and I do absolutely love her pigments. They are at the high end of the market, however. They're not cheap, and you can only get 5 grams a time. However, they go a very, very long way, and I am selling the individual pots as well as the sets. This is Alchemy, another one of Emma's new pigments. It's green. Now you know what I think about green, but this has a blue tint to it and it's sparkly. And I just thought this had got to be used for the dragonfly in this picture. This dragonfly just screams blue-green. Now I'm using it with the alcohol method. I'm mixing the mica with the alcohol so that it becomes liquidy. Therefore you can kind of paint with it. Now you can't wipe it on like you would paint and it would stay there. You kind of have to dab it on and keep mixing the mica with the alcohol, because the alcohol, being such a high content, evaporates very quickly. But doing this does enable you to save a lot of mica because it's very straightforward. It doesn't fly everywhere. You can pretty much keep it where you want it to be. And as this picture is textured, if I put a little bit of alcohol on there without any mica, it will make the mica run down into the bits that need filling. So I can go back over if I want to reapply to the higher areas. Does that make sense? I hope so. I find this kind of mica painting very relaxing. It's kind of like watercolour, but with mica. And it brings out the picture that's underneath. It's very sparkly, this colour. I think it's got some glitter in it. Lots of fun though. Very relaxing, chilling. Except when you splatter it in places because you flick the brush accidentally. I did clean that up later. But in my opinion, this is a brilliant way to colour flat moulds. missed the end part of his tail there. Just couldn't see it. I need better glasses, I think. Or new eyes. Now I'm going to use Poison. This is one of my favourites that Emma has been making for quite some time now. It's like a pinky purple and I think it's adorable for flowers. Now with these little flowers, they had spiky petals, and in order for me to get the mica into those petals, a little drop of clear alcohol on the top would make the colour run into them. And it saves quite a bit of cleanup. Now, I'm not saying I'm perfect, and yes, I had to go around a little bit and clean up, but there's far less to clean when you're doing this method. The colour is more vibrant because the alcohol will concentrate the colour in that area, and it dries and stays. This one's Inferno, another one of Emma's original pigments, and I absolutely love it. It's an orange-ish fire breathing dragon colour. Absolutely adorable. Love it. Now I did realise I was colouring the stems of the flowers, which should have been like a brown or green, in the same colour as the flower. But you know what? Art is what it is. It's an interpretation, and I'm quite happy to interpret the stems as the same colour as the flowers. But this design is absolutely gorgeous. And it's got a lot of detail for what it is really, including a speckledy background, which I think is lovely. Now I'm not going to put you through the entire process of this colouring, but I wanted to show you the basics really. Just build up the picture as you go through. Now when it comes to colouring inlays, you don't necessarily have to go through the amount of effort I do. I like to make each little detail a different colour, but that is just the way I like doing things. You can totally just dust these inlays and the vibrance of the colour will pick out the details of the inlays. I've seen so many pictures of people showing me where they've used their inlays in different ways, and there's such a variety to use. So I finished off the rest of the flowers and I coloured the leaves green. I'm now going to use Alexa, another one of Emma's new pigments. And this is a slightly different colour to the outside colour that I used because it's got that sparkly effect in it. And I thought it would make a really nice addition to the edges of this piece. And finally, I'm going to use Starlight. Now, Starlight is one of her ethereal pigments. Again, I am selling these on toonpish.com and you can buy them individually or in a set. But Starlight is like a ghost pigment. It will react totally different with a dark colour behind it than it does with the light colour. And this is a really gorgeous goldy cream. Absolutely stunning, and I thought it would be really nice to cover the entire area in between the flowers and grass in this colour. Once it's all done and dusted, I think it looks absolutely beautiful, and the contrast between the purple and the gold is stunning. Now it's time for some resin, and I'm going to use Let's Resin epoxy resin for this. There is a discount code on the screen. It'll also be in the description box below. I'm pouring part B first and then I'm going to pour part A. That's because I'm going to use the mixing tool. And as I've poured quite a lot of air in there before I started mixing, I'm just going to try and loosen some up by giving it a little tap to try and get rid of some of those bubbles at the top. The last thing I want to do is mix them in really. Of course, the best thing to do is not to put the bubbles in to start with before you've started mixing. So now I pop in my top onto the mixing jug and it will mix for 40 seconds. That's it, 40 seconds. I scrape the sides and the bottom and I'm going to add some Let's Resin grey to this, not black. Usually I put black behind. This time I'm going to use grey because I want to show you not only that Emma's colours work with other colours behind, but I also wanted to do something different than just black. I do get quite fed up with just having the same colours. And there are plenty of colours out there other than black and white. I don't think I've ever poured grey before. And this week I've poured 2 things that are grey because I've got another commission product sitting off to the side. I use a micro brush to go around the outside edge and inside edge of that lip very gently so not to disturb the mica, and I give it a good spray with isopropyl alcohol before I top it up. We all know that alcohol will break the surface tension, and if I've got too much resin in there it will flow over the edge. I've done that so many times. So the following day I could demold, and I do love demolding day. I love seeing how things come out, don't you? The brightness of that gold in the centre is very striking through that purple, and I do love purple. I'm a purple girl, and you can see it so well through that silicone. To be honest, I thought I'd taken out at one point, and then I realised, no, hold on, it's still in there. I haven't taken that out at all. It was a little tricky to get out to start with. I had to really push at it to get a grip of the edge because the resin had slightly gone under it, ever so slightly around the edge. But I think it is absolutely stunning. That gold is gorgeous. And the colour on the dragonfly is just amazing. It's not very often you can put a light colour and have a dark colour behind it and it stay light. And that's those ethereal pigments. They're amazing. So how do we make the inlays? So as I've showed you before, to make the inlays I've used these plastic embossing icing sheets. You can get them in packs of 12, I think, and there's lots of different patterns on there, but they are all 25 by 17 by 1.4 centimetres. So it's basically an A4 size only. And then I found these. These are embossed faux leather. It's cloth on the back, like a suede type thing, and it's faux leather pattern. There are tons on Amazon, on Temu, and probably on so many other websites. Faux leather embossed sheets, and you can get huge sizes of these. So I thought I'm going to have to try to see if I can pick up the pattern of this embossed faux leather. So I've got a new box of silicone rubber from Resin, so let's try making some silicone rubber inlays from this faux leather. I mix up about 60ml, which is 30ml of part A and 30ml of part B. I'm not going to use it all here. I've got some other pieces to one side that I need to use it for as well. And I just thought I'd plonk it down and put the silicone on top. And if it ruins it, it ruins it. I really haven't got that much to lose. And if it works, there's no reason why I can't buy bigger and better designs of faux leather to make bigger and better inlays. So after a few hours, only about 4 hours, I could see whether this was going to come off. And to start with, I thought it was totally stuck. There's no way this is releasing. Then I lift up the edge and it peeled off like a dream, an actual dream. That silicone is so thin and so full of detail. This is definitely a game changer for me. While I was filming this, I had another delivery of faux leather and 2 different designs. And I've cut these are rolls that I bought, and I've cut them into manageable sizes that you can see on the video. I've just cut these to around 26 inches or 86 centimetres. The width is a foot. Now that isn't that great, but it is definitely bigger than an A4 sheet. I think I need to get busy with silicone. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this one and got something out of it. I've really enjoyed using Emma's pigments, and don't forget they are now on sale on toonpish.com, so go check that out. I'm now going to be spending quite a lot of time pouring silicone, I think, and that's going to take quite a lot of room, but it's going to be fun. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this one. Come back and see me next week, because you never know what I'm going to be up to. I never know what I'm going to be up to. Have a great week. Happy crafting, and bye for now.